Hey guys, it's Pia here, and today I wanted to do a little hair tutorial for you guys. Some of you wanted me to tell you how I make hair for my customs. I've been doing a lot of anime style customs lately that all feature very similar hair to this guy right here. Basically, I'm just going to show you in this video how I achieve a look like this. I'm going to be doing slightly longer hair for this other character. These are both from Moomin, by the way. You probably won't recognize them unless you're Swedish or Finnish. But so she's going to get very similar hair except longer, and I'm going to show you how I sculpt it. It's going to be the exact same way that I sculpted this one, except it's obviously going to be longer, and yeah, you can adapt that to your custom if you want to do something similar to this. So what I always do is I always start out, as you can see, there are several different layers. So I start out with the bottom layer, which is going to be the lowest one, and then I always add more on top and more and more and more. I don't sculpt all of this at once, because if you sculpt too much at once, you might ruin some of the layers that you've made, and that would be a shame. So just sculpt as much as you want that you're comfortable with, but be aware that this might take a few rounds. For me, I usually just leave it to dry overnight. I think Kneadatite probably dries in about 8 hours, but I would recommend that you just do it on separate days, just in case. So this one, for example, took me 2 days to make, so I sculpted a few layers, and then it was actually just the top layer that was for the last day. So yeah, I'm gonna start sculpting this one. I'm gonna be doing it on a few separate occasions, but I'm gonna show you kind of how I do it, and I'm gonna do a little time lapse of it, I think. So yeah, I'll just show you how I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna jump ahead if there's something that's boring. So as I already said, I'm using Kneadatite for this. It's looks like this normally, but then when you mix the blue and the yellow, you get this green stuff that starts curing kind of slowly. As I said, it takes overnight, or at least 8 hours, for it to solidify, but you don't have to do anything to it. It's air dry, so that's great. So what I just do is I take a piece of this and I just make it into a long strand. Remember to use plenty of water, and I use gloves for this because I feel more comfortable that way, and that way you also prevent fingerprints on your sculpted parts, which is cool. I'm just going to use the table for it because it's a bit easier that way. But as I said, remember to use plenty of water, otherwise this will stick. Okay, I'm a little bit happier now with this. So I'm gonna make these kind of medium long hairs first, and then I'm gonna layer it with longer hair later on. So I'm gonna start off here, and then I'm just gonna try to do something and then hope that it doesn't stick to the body. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna put a piece of plastic in between here so that this green stuff doesn't get stuck to the base figure, because that would kind of ruin the custom, because I don't want it to get stuck there, and it would also ruin the sculpted parts. And this is what I said about sculpting in multiple layers and multiple days. As you can see, I'm goofing up a lot, so it's good that there's nothing here that hasn't set yet. Like the parts here on the front, the nose and the flower are already set because they dried yesterday, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, so I'm just sculpting a few strands here, and then hoping that they don't stick to the body and that they stick nicely to the head. With this one, I don't want to make too many layers at once because these are kind of fragile since they're so long, so I think it's best that they just set, and I'm gonna just put another layer here with some of the green stuff that I have left, and I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter because she has really fluffy hair that's sort of very ruffled, so I think it's gonna look cute if these are a little bit shorter, actually a lot shorter. But yeah, there's no rush. I'm just gonna do it like this, so I'm gonna actually just let it dry, and I'm giving it a little bit more detail here, but I don't think I want to do too much at once. And you can smooth it out as well if you want to by putting some more water and just trying to smooth it out, but it's not that critical because as you can see I'm gonna put some more hairs on top of this, so it doesn't have to look perfect. So yeah, let's just hope that this doesn't stick here. So the only problem with using a sheet of plastic in between here is that the surface where the hair touches the plastic might become really sleek and really get kind of sharp edges. It's very hard to explain, but that's the risk I'm going to take because I just don't want this hair to get stuck to the body. So fingers crossed that it's not gonna look really silly. So even then, if it looks a bit weird, I can always try to fix it somehow, but we'll see what it looks like tomorrow and get back to it. So today is the second day of sculpting for this custom. As you can see, I added a few more hair strands on it yesterday, more than I showed in the video. But yeah, so I'm gonna add a few more short hairs to this, and I'm just going to show you another custom here in between. I applied the same technique to this one, so as you can see, I've just sculpted the bottom layer here and some hair on top. This is gonna be my Wonder Tweak custom, by the way, from South Park, in case you were curious. And I just done the same thing, that I start from the bottom and I sculpt upwards. So yeah, this one's also something that I'm going to be sculpting today, but I'm not going to be showing that. I'm just going to continue with this one, and I'm going to show you how I sculpt more hair on her. Once again, I just take a little piece of green stuff, and then I just take this piece and cut it into smaller strands of hair. So this is all the sculpting that I'm going to do for now. I might sculpt a little bit more off camera. The reason why I'm not sculpting too much here in front of the camera is because it's actually really difficult to do that with the camera in between me and the custom. But I'm going to continue a little bit more. But as you can see, I'm not putting tons of new layers on this. I'm just trying to build it up really slowly so that nothing goes wrong, and so that all of the hairs that I've sculpted now don't get stuck to the custom or something like that, or don't get ruined. So yeah, this is what it looks like so far. So we're back with this custom, and I'm going to probably put the finishing layer now on the hair. You can see I sculpted all of these already. I'm going to be sculpting a few more layers on it, and then I'm probably just going to try to get everything done. I might not film all of it, but as you can see, it's basically the same thing. I'm just layering things, so I'm just going to continue here above this hairline, and then after that I'll be sculpting the hair on the head. So yeah, let's get to it. So I'm finished sculpting her now. I'm just gonna let the hair dry. I'm a little bit afraid of touching it because I sculpted so much at once, as you can see. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty cute looking, and I hope that you guys like it as well. I hope that you found this useful, and maybe you can take some of these tips and do something for yourself and sculpt some hair a little bit better than before. Or at least this style of hair, if that's what you want to do. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and see you again in the next part. Bye bye!